Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Four Train Savages podcast, episode number 253. Today is August 21st. The Yankees just finished up a sweep, Tyler, of the Baltimore Orioles down in Camden Yards. They now sit 72 and 55 in the American League East, 4 games back from the Tampa Bay Rays, with the Boston Red Sox only 4 games back from them at 68 and 59. We know at the end of August we'll be seeing the Red Sox for a 4 game set, so that will be a very important series next weekend. But this particular weekend, they'll be welcoming the Toronto Blue Jays into Yankee Stadium, looking for a little bit of revenge after that disappointing series in Toronto where they only were able to take that last game. So Tyler, they're sitting at 72 and 55. They're looking a little better after the offense has looked very pedestrian. We know the starting pitching has looked more consistent than it's ever been. We may be looking at one of the best starting pitching staffs the Yankees have had in their history, and that's not that crazy to say with the way that Cam Schlittler has looked, how Garrett Cole has looked. We know Max Fried just landed on the IL. We'll talk about how we think that's somewhat of a phantom IL, but we know that ties back to his left elbow bone bruise, but it was very convenient with Carlos Rodón returning. So Tyler, what did you make of this last week for the Yankees? We know they had that disappointing series in Toronto, but then they made up for it, it seems, with this sweep of the Baltimore Orioles.
Rob, how are we? Like I said to you before we got on the pod, it's a weird place for Yankee fans to be in because there's a portion of us that are just unbelievably negative right now. There are a portion that are understanding, and there's optimistic fans. I said to you that I think I'm pretty happy with where the Yankees are at right now, considering they are winning games that they're grinding out. Yeah, we got almost like playoff warm up coming up in these next 3 series: Jays, Houston, Sox. So that's cool. But Rob, like I said, I'm excited with where the Yankees are at. I think I'm excited because they've kind of kept it afloat, and it feels like Belly should be back like this weekend. It seems like Stan will be back, September 1st type of thing, and Judge sitting off a tee. They're now 4 games back of the Rays, so I feel like we're kind of within striking distance, if you will. But yeah, man, I'm happy with the Yanks in terms of what they've been able to do against the teams they've played in the last few weeks.
Yeah. They have taken care of business. That series in Toronto was a bit of a disappointment, but you make up for it by sweeping the Orioles this week. Maybe it was a little bit of luck in the second game when it came to that Pete Alonso home run foul or fair controversy, but it went the Yankees' way and they were able to win the second game, and then they took care of business in game 3, only allowing 1 run. So the injury of Max Fried will be interesting to watch, but that really felt like when the news first came out and we saw left bone bruise, it and it felt it could be. We don't know the exact background on it, and it's something that has to be treated very seriously. I know you texted me being like, "I'm done with Max. What is this? This is not good." But it did come with having Carlos Rodón return, so it does very much feel like the Yankees are letting him ease back into it. He got some starts under his belt when he first returned, and then a little bit of a break prior to heading into October and the back half of September. That is what it feels like, but we have to watch how it progresses. We know Cody Bellinger will make his return this weekend. That we're going to talk a little bit about how that will affect then what they do with Spencer Jones. It seems like the Yankees, I could be wrong. We're recording on this Friday. Maybe they call him up or bring back up Belly maybe Saturday, Sunday. I feel like it'll be like a Sunday sort of deal with Belly, but we'll have to watch what they do with their roster moves, have the Twitter notifications on for that. And then we have, you mentioned it, the Judge news, and then Stanton coming back potentially at the start of September. So a lot of things to be looking at. And then how this roster is then moved around with bullpen arms, with who's going to be in the starting rotation come October. And then also we've been mentioning just this, how they shape out this lineup. So A lot of stuff to talk about in this episode, but a positive one with them sweeping the Orioles and took care of business against a lesser team in their division. Win those
First
division
sweep in a
games,
while.
first sweep in a while, and then winning division games, even though they are the lesser teams of your division. But you gotta put your foot on their neck while you can.
Hey
If
man, not saying much, but that team was holding a playoff spot a few days ago.
Yeah, no, totally.
But not saying much in the American League.
Totally. So if this is your first time joining us, we appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and go ahead over to follow us on our social platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the good stuff. We are all over that. Um, all right, so the Max Fried news before we talk about the series in detail because it's pretty quick to go through because it leads into Rodon making his first start back. So Max Fried lands on the 15-day IL with that left bone bruise, and it really does feel like it's going to be that phantom IL situation because
Mhm.
it was the return of Carlos Rodon. We know that Ryan Weathers has been holding it down. They do have Will Warren, who we'll talk about as well, that has been struggling as of late in his last few starts. But Max Fried, it's not a situation where you just want to throw him back out there, throw him to the Wolves, and just let him last until going into October. Because we did see, too, Tyler, last year when Fried was that workhorse for them all through the season, and then when he moved into October, it
He
seemed
was
like he
dead.
had been laboring a little bit. It seemed like he was tired. We saw it catch up to him in that division series against the Jays. He
Hmm.
pitched really well in that Red Sox wild card series. So um, the storybook when it comes to Max Fried in October, it's been hit or miss, really. Like he has had those really great starts, like we saw in that wild card series, and then the blow up start against the Blue Jays, and then even dating back to some other days in his Atlanta career, we saw him have really a solid. I think it was a 6 innings pitched, a really solid quality start in one of the World Series games, and then he did also have the same thing where he wasn't performing as well. So with this Max Fried news, left elbow bone bruise. We're hoping it's not going to lead to anything worse, but I do believe, and what it looks like on the surface is that it's more of a rest situation for him.
Yeah, that's what I mean, it caused instant panic in Yankee land,
Mm-hmm.
especially on the internet, obviously. I think as time went on, everyone got a little more optimistic that, hey, this could be a Phantom IL thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, as soon as I heard Boone's comments yesterday, we're like, yeah, it could only be the 2 weeks. And, Max didn't really want to go on the IL, which kind of tells me, like, I don't know, if game one of the ALDS was tomorrow, he'd probably be ready to
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
you know? So
that's what I
I'm
think.
no longer freaking out about it at all.
That because yeah, when you hear him go on the IL after just getting back, seemingly it's
Thought
pretty.
his season was over. That's what I thought.
And we were daydreaming about having him, Schlittler, and Cole in any series and throughout a October run is the idea. So
And I think
to have that, yeah, go ahead.
that's the only thing I think keeping, some hope together for some fans is
Well,
having the whole staff together.
that is the bread and butter of what they're going to be able to do is, and it also ties into just the rest and hopefully recovery of what they can get out of the bullpen because if the Yankees are going to make a run this year with not having let's say Aaron Judge does come back, but he's not going to be the 100% Aaron Judge. It seems like it's going to be him having to work into things, having Giancarlo Stanton who can't run around the bases, or having Cody Bellinger get back who wasn't exactly his best before the injury. You want this starting staff, even in a weaker American League, to be at its best because that can be what
Hmm.
carries you. Clearly, they need to be able to score runs, but the puncher's chance starts with this starting rotation. Is what we're talking about here. Um, Also interesting of note, like we talked about, Cody Bellinger will make his return this weekend, and that will likely coincide with another move, which it seems as though it could be Spencer Jones.
Hmm.
Spencer Jones in his last game went 3 for 4. This was the one yesterday. Went 3 for 4, 2 runs, a home run, 6 total bases, and a stolen base, and has had a hit in 5 of his last 6 games. So when looking at what the Yankees can do in terms of the roster, you would say it's Jones moving down and bringing in Bellinger. The also interesting facet that could end up maybe bailing that or delaying the decision in a way I would explain it as would be Ryan McMahon, who slid into second base, who didn't play yesterday. Could they be putting him on the IL with a thumb injury just to sideline
Hmm.
him for a bit? Because we know they Spencer Jones has been hitting. He's been playing well as of late. They want to get
Yep.
him more reps. They want to maybe incorporate him into the postseason roster. We know rosters expand at the start of September, so could that be something where they just delay it a little bit? But when it comes to the active roster, really what you're looking at, could they get rid of a bullpen arm like Bradley Hanner or something like that? Maybe, but then it could be like, do they have to cut ties with Ahmed Rosario? Not really sure that they would want to do that. So the Yankees have some thinking to do. I don't know if it'll happen as soon as today while we're recording. I would guess like them giving Bellinger some more time and then maybe have him debut back on Sunday. So, and we were talking about a little bit before. I don't necessarily blame them for this move. It's not like me and you and other Yankee fans being really upset
Yeah.
that they haven't called up Lombard yet, because they do, like, you're bringing in Bellinger. It's not like you're sending down, or you're not. It's not like you're sending down this young player that's been playing well for a schmuck, even though Bellinger has not played great when he was playing before the injury. But it makes sense as to why they're doing it. I would still like to see Spencer Jones, though, incorporated in this roster. I think a lot of Yankee fans would be on the same page with that. So it's a tricky situation.
Yeah. I think it's almost just like a bummer type of thing for a lot of Yankee fans is like feels like this is one of the moves that everyone knows is going to happen. Kind of wishes couldn't, but it's understanding of the thought process there, which is, yeah, I think there's a minor chance they'd have to DFA Rosario, so there's a small chance that happens. I do think they might just take advantage of McMahon sliding into a base and hurting his thumb.
Hmm.
Like it gives them an extra. That virtually gets them to September.
Hmm.
And then you have expanded rosters by two players, I think it is. Um, so yeah, kind of hope it's not Spencer Jones just because I almost feel like it's brought the best out of Trent and Spencer. So like I kind of like the little back and forth there. But it looks like it'll end up being him. But we'll see. Probably around the time the lineup comes out today.
But even if you look at what this roster is as it's currently constructed before a Stanton coming back or whatever coinciding move with Bellinger, um, Heliot Ramos just got his first RBI for the
Hmm.
Yankees this week against the Orioles. And I know the Yankees typically, when they invest in a player, and to what degree this investment was of Heliot Ramos can certainly be argued. But and you could tell me if I'm wrong here, Tyler, but if I'm looking at this outfield situation, and clearly that may change when Judge gets back too, so that's a conversation. But if Spencer Jones is hitting the way that he's hitting, and Ramos was what, like crazy, it was the worst stretch of his career, starting like 4 for 41 or something insane.
Hmm.
But Spencer Jones, 6 home runs, 19 RBIs, 227 average, 305 on base, 712 for a rookie first starting, Tyler. That's not bad. That is not bad
It's
start.
yeah, it's same numbers as Trent
It's
almost.
what it's something to be looked at. And then if you look at Ramos now, 9 home runs, 35 RBIs, a 686 OPS. So when you're talking about that conversation of how, and yes, they made an investment in Ramos, but if one of your star prospects is now starting to blossom in the way that Jones is, that's something that, okay, for the time being until Judge gets back, is that where they split time and then Bellinger's back? And clearly they have to shake out the rest of the roster and figure it out. But if Ramos is not going to be exactly jumping off the page and Jones is ascending, fans will get loud about that, as they rightfully should. And there's even some fans that are not, and I get it because he's still a
I mean, they
rookie.
could just sell. They could send Ramos down, but they probably won't.
And there's fans
Ramos
that,
has options, I
yeah,
think.
he does. And there's fans that are talking about, I've seen on Twitter at least, that, oh, Jones isn't exactly blowing the numbers off the page. And I get it
I
because,
mean, he's not, but he's looked better.
but if he's getting comparable to some of your other outfielders right now, as you mentioned in a Trent, and he's
Hmm.
being an athlete out there, he makes an impact in the game in other ways. He shows speed. He shows that, and he's giving better at bats than he has. Um, that's a player that you want to have a part of the equation. That just is. And that's me looking on the outside here as a fan. And Ramos, maybe he'll get it going, but this last stretch of August will tell us a lot of him, I would say, and then that conversation could start back up if like Jones gets sent down and then Ramos continues to suck, and we go, why isn't Jones up here, and why are we watching Ramos continue to play? So that is it's going to be fascinating to see what they decide to do. My guess, Tyler, would be they'll send him down for a portion of time. And I don't know if you would agree with that. With Jones, that they would send down for a portion of time.
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, I really do wish they wouldn't. Um, like it feels like Ramos is the easy move because you can I don't know. Like the easy move is to just probably send Ramos down, but then it's like
You just traded for him.
that's the righty bat in the outfield that they want right now.
Yeah.
I like it's almost easier to DFA Rosario because he's a righty infield bat. Um, but we know the Yankees don't want to just lose players for nothing. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what you're doing when you're sending. So it's going to be Spencer Jones probably. I'd be shocked if not. It might be Ramos, but I doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I would like it to not be Spencer Jones. I think they're gonna IL McMahon today, honestly.
It could
That's
be a
my guess.
factor. I think that would save them time. That would save them time
At
and
least
what to
gives them
do.
another 8 days, you know?
Yeah. All right. Before we talk about Judge and Stanton and talking about them in the equation, I also wanted to talk a little bit about the progress of Ryan Weathers and then also Rodon. But in this, we'll start with the Orioles series and what went on in this 3 game set. So game one, the Yankees take this 3-1. Rodon makes his return off of the IL. He goes 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 4 Ks. So first start back, nothing exactly to write home about, but nothing too crazy. And then the bullpen was able to go scoreless for the rest of the game and carry it the way De Los Santos, Hedrick, Cruz, Blackburn, Bednar. And the offense coming in this one was from Trent Grisham, a home run in the top of the third, and then also an RBI, 2 RBI single in the top of the seventh, where then the bullpen held on to it. So Trent Grisham also now we mentioned it a little bit about how he has made his numbers more respectable than they have or previously, because like it was a little bit of a break for us on this pod, but the last time we were talking about it was that Trent Grisham was bad as a leadoff hitter and he wasn't
Hmm.
looking good. Now has 17 home runs, 54 RBIs, a 737 OPS. So he has picked it up in this last week, and he had a good series against Toronto. He had a good week all of last week, and then
Hmm.
he continued it in the Baltimore series. I
Which is why I really like this little competition I feel like they have.
I think the competition is good, and I don't want to like I'm not saying Trent himself is fool's gold because I think he is a factor in this roster and needs to be played to some degree. But I just, again, I don't love their like unwillingness to then move him off of center field, and that he has a like it seems as though he has a guaranteed spot in the leadoff spot, and he
Yeah.
has that guaranteed spot. And that
He
to me
arguably shouldn't play center field at all.
and that to me, yeah, exactly. And that to me is the frustrating thing where I
I'd
say
rather put him in
it's
left, have Belly in center.
it's like, yeah, I would totally agree with that. I think Bellinger would be a better athlete in center field, and that's where I get frustrated with him as a player. And then also, I mean, I would also say that I don't think that the current numbers, even though he had a better last 2 weeks, also justifies the 22 million contract. But that's a story for another day. That's a story for a off-season podcast. Or if he continues to irritate us even more, then we'll mention that. But I'm not going to mention it now as much because he's been playing better, and they need this offense to just pick it up because they haven't been good since the
Yeah.
start of June. So now watching Trent be better is good. But I would agree. You made a good point. Like when Bellinger gets back, I listen, I wouldn't mind seeing him take reps in center field. If Spencer Jones is still around, I wouldn't mind seeing him get more reps in center field. But that
They ain't
unwillingness,
doing that. I don't
that
think they are.
yeah, but that's the thing.
That sucks.
That unwillingness to just be like, oh, he has a guaranteed spot. Like treating that like we treat Aaron Judge having a guaranteed spot in right field is crazy to me when we look at Trent Grisham. I just think that is my 2 cents on it.
I agreed. I mean, I agreed. I agree. I think it's like when Boone did the interview, I don't know, maybe it was a month ago with the Talking Yanks, and he was like, "Nah, Trent's like center fielder. I've never even thought about putting him in left or right." It's like, what? Why not? Why haven't you thought about that? Because Belly's your best defender, and you know, usually your better defender plays center field, it seems like,
He's
but
slow in the outfield too. He's
yeah. And
slow.
Trent is probably can probably fadangle left field, you know, which a lot of these young guys, Jason, just kind of can't.
And I don't think Trent has a good enough arm either. I don't
For
think
center
he has,
field.
I don't think so. I don't think he
Yeah.
has a great arm.
No, Trent doesn't have a good arm. Trent is good at not messing up. Is kind of what it seems like. But all these balls hit over his head. Pretty scary.
Because if
Even
you
the
look at
ones
the
he
if you
gets
look at
to.
a lot of some of the advanced stats and the catch probability and what could be expected from him and his late breaks to balls, I sometimes he doesn't take a great angle to it. That is
Hmm.
where I it's piling up for me in a level of frustration and a lot of other Yankee fans. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying completely move him off center field. I'm not saying that. But this idea that we can't move him around and that it's just pencil him in every day, every day, every day.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't love it.
stupid.
I don't love it.
I don't love it either. The one thing I will say about Trent that I'm proud of this year, just because I'm looking at last year's stats too, I don't think he's worth $22 million a year at this moment in time either, Rob. However, I said it all offseason. I said it a couple times this year. Trent had 34 homers last year. Outside of that, he only had nine doubles. He's got 19 doubles on the year so far. So I like that.
So he's doing it. He's getting those extra base hits beyond just the homer. So yeah,
Yes,
no, it's a good
I
point.
like that.
Good point. Game number two. The Yankees win this one 5-3. Will Warren in this one goes 4 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts. In this, we'll talk a little bit more on Warren after we go through this, but Rice hits a home run and then tied at 3-3 in the seventh. The big determining factor or what could have swayed the game one way or another. Pete Alonso hits a go ahead home run that then the umpires call foul. It was most definitely a home run after watching the replays, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I think we would all
I mean, it was
they need
over.
to make
Yeah.
the foul poles a lot taller because
Yeah.
that was
Michael K's been in on the laser forever.
yeah. I think it's a good idea as well.
I mean, yeah, you know.
Um, and then following that in the top of the eighth, the Yankees begin manufacturing some runs with Lombard's infield single getting in the first run and or the fourth run for the Yankees to go up 4-3, and then Jazz going on a wild pitch to make it 5-3. And then we saw Blackburn and Bednar hold things down as well as Hedrick. Hedrick gave up that home run that should have been a home run to Pete Alonso. But the Yankees hold on and they listen. Better to
Hey, they
be
won by two. It
lucky
doesn't matter.
if
Won
they
by
won the
two.
game. Should it have gone the Orioles' way? You don't know how the rest of the game would have turned out after the Alonso home run,
Yeah.
but we'll take it. We'll take the win, and the Yankees take that one. But I want to talk slightly about Will Warren. So for the year, Will Warren has just pulling this up real quick. Computer's a little slow today. 8-6, 4.43 ERA, 122 innings pitched. 1.4 whip. I think Will Warren, we're getting to, and a lot. There's also been talk and conversations from Yankee fans online about the frustrations behind Will Warren. I, I appreciate
Regular
him as
season pitcher.
I do. Yes, I appreciate
All I
him
can say.
as an innings eater. I think he goes out there every fifth day and can give you a quality start, and he can also give you a
Chance to
stinker
win. Hmm.
and he can give you a chance to win. He right now is the candidate to go to the pen ahead of Weathers, where we were. Oh,
Has to be.
I was saying all year that I thought it was Weathers because he
Well,
seemed
weather's
like his.
changed a lot
But
too.
Weathers has evolved now to a point where he could be competing for that fourth spot with Rodon. Like I
Mhm.
don't. We'll talk about it more in detail, but I think they would eventually give the nod to Rodon based on the contract, based on the history of him being here longer. But when it comes to Will Warren, I think that's a situation where Warren. I mean, in his last few starts, he had the previous one against Baltimore that wasn't great. Then he went 4 innings pitched, 5 earned runs against Seattle, 5 1/3 against the Cardinals, 3 earned runs. Just it's not matching up as well as it was prior in the summer to Weathers, and Weathers is just taking the bull by the horns and is going out
Hmm.
and doing the thing, and he's been staying healthy. And Warren, I think last year, did he pitch over 200 innings or close to 200 innings?
Yeah, he pitched the whole year. He pitched
So he is an innings guy. He's an innings eater,
162.
but the you just don't have the level of confidence in him as you would with some of the other guys in this rotation. You just don't. And not to say that he's not like he could probably be a 3 or 4 on better or on some lesser teams or lesser
Yeah,
or like teams with suffering pitching
most
staffs.
teams.
And I don't think his career is like the career trajectory can change for Will Warren. He has like the level of stuff and I think that he can ascend. Like I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities, but as he currently is, I don't like he's just the odd man out to then in this rotation to then be put in the bullpen. That's just what it is.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking pennant race, playoff pictures, like Will Warren should not be really in the conversation to start any playoff game.
No,
No, honestly, not a knock on Will Warren. Like the Yankees have,
a stacked pitching
arguably
staff.
five really good pitchers.
Hmm.
So nothing on Will Warren. Again, I'll sign him up to partake as my chunk of pitchers I need for the year every year. Um, but now I need you to do something else.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's
No,
it.
no, 100%. And then game three, the Yankees win this one 6-1. Garrett Cole goes 6 innings pitched, 4 hits given up, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts. Elliot Ramos, as I mentioned a little earlier, gets his first RBI as a Yankee. Rice, Garcia, Jones all hit homers. Jazz triples for an
Big
insurance
for
run.
Rice.
And the Yankees complete the sweep. So really nice way for the Yankees after a little bit more of a dramatic win in game number two and the whole controversy with the Alonso home run, and the Yankees just leave
Hmm.
no doubt. And that's what we like to see, man. You're not going to be, it's hard to sweep teams. It is. It's hard to sweep teams in Major League Baseball, so you'll take them even if it's against a lesser Baltimore team. Okay, quickly, before we talk about some other subjects, let's do our Savages of the series. I'm going to go with Spencer Jones in the series. Hit 5 hits, 1 home run, a stolen base, and 4 runs scored. I talked about his stats on the year: 712 OPS, 305 on base. So Spencer Jones is beginning to ascend. I'm on your boat where I'm hoping that they could potentially just give McMahon a break and after that thumb issue in the second game and have him land on the IL because I'd really like to see, not just because the Yankees need
Throw
offense,
caveat third,
but they need to see this. I'd like to see Spencer Jones continue. He's an athlete. He can hit the ball pretty well as of late, and I would like to see him just get more numbers. I'm not putting these great expectations on Spencer Jones. Like I'm not saying he's going to be the next Aaron Judge. I'm not saying that. I'm not that invested in him as in terms of like my fandom of him.
Hmm.
But I think he's just playing good baseball right now, and I don't want to lose good baseball players. Is my moral of the story there.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I like Spencer Jones. Good Savage, Rob. Love
Who would
that.
you
Good
who
for
would you go
Spencer
with?
Jones. I am gonna go with Garrett Cole, Rob. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 8 Ks to secure the sweep. It went from Garrett Cole to Ryan Yarborough. Rob, in my head, going into this year, dude, I genuinely at no point was like super, super optimistic that Garrett Cole would be the Garrett Cole I knew.
Hmm.
I've watched him enough in these last couple months where I think the kid's back. Kid's
Hmm.
back. Um, 2.5 WAR on the season, Rob. 92 innings pitched down to a 3.1 ERA, 136 ERA plus. He's been really good. A year post TJ, I feel like it takes pitchers usually a little bit longer, like a good half a season to kind of get, their footing. Um, but I think Garrett Cole is an intimidating ace to go after. He is not like this shell of himself. Like, halfway version of Garrett Cole. I think come postseason time, you are seeing him, build up in real time. Like Cole's back. I don't know, something about him taking the pill yesterday, like felt very important, and it felt like a big game, and he shoved. So Garrett Cole.
He had in his 8 strikeouts yesterday versus the Orioles, he passed Roger Clemens for 12th on the all-time Yankees strikeout list. So pretty
Wow.
impressive stuff. And Clemens pitched for the Yankees for a while, and we forget that Cole has been here for a minute too. He's been here for 6 years, and you just see and you see him like consistently pumping 97, 98,
Hit
and
99 last night.
he's pitching.
I was like,
We
wow.
know what these pitchers when they even as older as they get, they're pitching with new arms. And when you're an elite talent
Hmm.
like Cole, it's not overly surprising to see him just take some time. He had some bad starts, but then ease himself back into it where he can be an elite level pitcher. We've been saying it all year. So good selection there, Tyler. Now I know it's hard to do it on a week where they sweep, but I'm going to go with some Savage Slump Watch.
They
I'm just
stink.
going to say we spoke about it a little earlier. Have to go with Will Warren, where his last 2 starts were quite underwhelming, and it looks just like he's primed to be sent down to the bullpen, or not down to the bullpen, over to the bullpen because the Yankees have a need there. They want to give the bullpen arm some rest, so that will actually be interesting. Tyler, do you think if they do send Will Warren to the pen, how soon do you think it would be? Do you think it's just like a very late time thing going on,
Mm,
or do you think they would ease him in earlier in September?
I don't think they do it at all until Fried, Schlittler, Cole, Rodon, Weathers are all functioning as a staff of five.
Yeah.
So that pushes you instantly 2 weeks out. And then you
Hmm.
have 3 weeks. I don't know. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
really don't know. I think that's something where it's like, the second week of September, and they're like, all right, let's get Will some looks at coming out of the pen,
Yeah.
for a couple innings. But I don't think they'll do it until they have their at least like 4 or 5.
Yeah. No,
So yeah.
they would have to wait for a freed return, so that may be another couple weeks, so it buys them a little bit of time. But I think as long as Ryan Weathers continues to pitch like this, I think he'll
Yeah.
be that fifth. Okay. Unless did you have any? I don't know if there was any. You
I
can't. It's
mean,
hard to do in a sweep, man. It's hard to
yeah,
do.
I'm looking like Jazz. I can't give it to because he had a nice triple yesterday. Mm, you can give it to Hedrick for half, giving up a fake homer.
Yeah, yeah. No, we'll keep it as positive as we can. But I think
We'll
Warren was
keep it
probably the
positive
one
today.
that stood out. All right. Aaron Judge update, and then I wanted to talk about the last rotation spot. Aaron Judge cleared to continue his hitting progression, is now hitting off a tee. According to Aaron Boone, he says it seems to be going pretty well, or it seems to be going well. And when I heard that, Tyler, it makes sense of like his hitting progression. I do like off that my reaction was, man, we're on August 21st and he's just like beginning his T progression. To me, I don't know. I don't know. I think he's going to come back. I think he's going to play. I do feel like if he does, it's going to be at like the last hour. It's going to be like close to midnight in terms of like
Hmm.
this in terms of the regular season. John Heyman did also report that there's no guarantee that he still plays this year. So John Heyman report, take it with a grain of salt. Uh, I I still my gut tells me he's not going to play the field, and I know we talked about that a little bit last week. So that I think is going to be an interesting facet for the Yankees to deal with. But this they need him back in this lineup to give
Yeah.
pitchers something to think about and something to then prepare for. But I don't know. My reaction to that news was, I feel I would have hoped that he'd be back a little earlier and be further along in his progression. Maybe it's just even quicker than we realize that he'll be facing live pitchers. I don't know, but that was my reaction to the news. I don't know if I don't think it's too far off from what his scheduled or expected progression would be, but I just as the weeks go on, I think it's just natural as a fan. It's getting a little nerve wracking to see if or when he will be back. So
Yeah. I mean, I do think Judge is going to be back at this point. Considering the swinging underwater update came like 3 days ago before the hitting off a tee. I was pretty happy to see the tee update because in my head I went, okay, well next is live pitching or something like that, the traject machine, something. Um, so I thought when I heard the he's starting to swing like underwater or whatever, do like water therapy for his swing. I think on like Monday, like that is, I felt what you felt with the T update with the swinging underwater a few
Okay,
days ago.
gotcha.
So when I got the T update, I was like, all right, word, he's coming back.
Hmm.
I still think anyone that like, I remember just like first week of September got thrown out so much. Like, I don't think I think you're looking at like September 14th, like second week of September type of thing.
Hmm. That seems what it's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like second to last week of the season either. So that would probably
Didn't we
be on.
date? What is the homestand?
I think I said my prediction I believed was like second week of September, or I thought that he would be back for the Subway Series like around 9/11. That's what my guess was. I was
Yeah.
hoping because I'm going to go out to San Diego and see them play that series. I was hoping selfishly that he'd be back. It seems like Stanton will be back for that, which is something to take away. But yeah,
That's my guess then. Probably he's gonna either September 8th, against the Rockies, where we start a homestand there.
yeah,
So that we're home for a little bit. Or I don't think he returns away. So I think he
no,
comes back.
they're going to want him to come back during a
Yeah, so
homestand.
I think either you're looking at I guess September 8th, which would be the first week of September, or I think they hold him off until the race,
Yeah.
which is
He may have
September
some motivation though
'22.
he may have some motivation to, I mean, obviously it depends on his body. Like whatever he says
I
isn't
hope he
not going to
gets
be
a ton of
collaborated
ABs.
with what doctors say. But I wouldn't be surprised if he has some extra motivation to get back for that Subway Series on 9/11 because we know
That's
he's
true.
shown some big pride in playing for Team USA and
Yeah,
everything. So I could see that being that's going to be my guesstimation on August 21st. I know it's ticking down to when he would then return, but I think that would be
that would be
when he
cool.
maybe comes back. And then speaking of another injured player, we saw the videos of Stanton running around the bases, and then pair Brian Hoke, Aaron Boone said that there was no more clarity on the potential timeline for Stanton, who has been out since April 24th with the right calf strain. I think that tweet was about either a day or two ago, and he said he's been running, I think yesterday or the day before, and did more bases, but nothing really new. And we know it was that report not too long ago of the tandem between Bellinger and Stanton were expected within like the next 2, 3 weeks. So there's like a super gray area with Stanton, but I still think we're probably going to see him at the start of September when like the rosters
Yeah,
expand.
September 1, you're gonna see him, I
That's
think.
where that's where I think we're going to expect him. But
Well,
and
Boone virtually also said that on his interview with Talking Yanks. They were like, "Yeah, there's some roster stuff, so probably first couple days of September."
yeah, that's where I think we're going to see him. And then how they then, I know it's only going to be for the last month of the season, but it'll be fascinating to watch how they then where to, because Rice may probably end up playing more first base. And then is there going to be days where they sit Garcia, play Stanton against the left, or yeah,
Hmm.
play Stanton against the lefty. So that's going to be something to watch. And that's what we've been talking about now for the last month since the trade deadline. So,
Very
um,
interested to see what they do with Stan.
so last topic I wanted to talk about before we head on out of here, and then also I know they're playing the Blue Jays this weekend, so we need some revenge during this weekend series back at home. With Rodon back, we lightly texted about this outside of doing the pod. Do you think like because there's only going to probably be four starting pitchers in October, right? Like that.
Hmm.
That's what we usually think.
Four, yeah.
Uh, Do you think they immediately give that run to Rodon? Like, I know it's going to be odd to think of Rodon coming out of the bullpen, and it seems like the merit would go to him, and then they would have Weathers because he's the younger pitcher, hasn't had as much postseason experience. But if you really do look at the Weathers numbers, and it's pretty comparable to what Rodon has done at times outside of last year, which he was very,
Hmm.
very good for the Yankees. But like what Weathers is doing, and if he finishes the season off really strong, like I don't know, it's interesting. I'm just we're just talking out loud here, but I do think at the end of the day the spot will go to Rodon. but with how good Weathers has looked, like he's taken the Yankees into multiple games where he
Hmm.
takes you into the seventh inning. And I'm not saying that Rodon hasn't done that at points, but like Weathers has been, and a few of the games I've attended in person, a lot of, and maybe that could be just because the Yankees haven't been scoring as much, but he's had like a lot of no decisions where he's going into the seventh inning. He flirts with the eighth inning. Like it's a conversation, I think, slightly. Do you not see that, or what do you think of the whole
No,
dynamic there?
I think there's totally a conversation. I think it's mostly due to how good um, Weathers has been.
Yeah.
I think there's a real. It's funky because they're both lefties. If one of them was like a lefty and a righty, the other was a righty, you could kind of like stagger. Depends who you match up with, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think there's a real possibility, dude. They do like a piggyback type of situation, do some funny shit where they're like, hey, Los, you're gonna open and Weathers is coming in,
Oh,
or
little
Weathers, you're
Devi J
yeah,
have.
or Weathers, you're gonna open and then Los is gonna come in. Where they just try and save the pen for one day and let you go. All right, I need four from you and four from you. You know. I don't know though, Rob. I do think there's a conversation to be had, right? Like, because at the end of the day, Rodon has Rodon has pitched 50 innings this year. Weathers has pitched 134.
Yeah.
Um, Now you could look at that two different ways. You can go, well, Weathers has never thrown that many innings. He's tapped. He's taxed. He needs a break. And you can look at it and say, well, Lois is rested and is kind of ready to roll in October, which he was not, similar to Max Fried last year. Or you could look at it and go, well, Weathers has pitched all season, so he knows what works, what pitches work best off of each other. He feels good, yada yada. And Rodon has not pitched a bunch of seasons. You could look at it from a positive light or not. I don't know, Rob. I really have no idea what's going to happen. It is all dependent on what goes down these next 4 weeks. If Weathers goes, his next five starts like, 2.5 ERA, no games over, 2 earned runs, like been going in, pitching into the sixth, into the seventh, and Los has been a catastrophe. Yeah, I think it makes the decision easy. And vice versa. If Weathers is a catastrophe for 5 straight games and Los has been disgusting, I think that makes the decision easy. I
Hmm.
think if both of them pitch well, I think it ultimately goes to Rodon, is my guess.
Yeah.
Uh, and then yeah, well, I guess they'll kind of go from there. I think everything changes within the series too. Like, to be honest, if we're a wild card team, Rodon and Weathers are almost irrelevant to me because you don't need four pitchers in a wild card game. You only
Hmm.
need three.
Yeah.
In the ALDS, you really only need three. It's of benefit to you if you have a fourth, so your ace can get an extra day of rest. I think those two more come into play in a 7 game series type of thing.
Hmm. No.
So this is a long-winded answer to like I don't know.
And well, I'm just looking at his game, Ryan Weathers' game logs for the year. He
He's
had
had a couple like 7 and 8 inning
he had one game
showings.
in August where he went 7 innings pitched. He had another game in July where he went seven. He had none for the month of June. Then he had one in May. Then he had two in April. He had one versus Kansas City. That one I attended, and then he had another game versus I was about to say Oakland, but Las Vegas, where he went eight. So he gives you length, man. Pause.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something to be considered when you're looking at how, like, I know that it's the first year he's been doing it. It's the first year he's been with the Yankees. He's a younger pitcher. He's 26. Rodon is 33. But it's been undeniable how he has had this somewhat breakout year. And the Yankees want, and any team heading into the playoffs wants a pitcher that can give you that sort of runway throughout a game to save your bullpen in a way. But we know it becomes a different sort of sport, or not different sort of sport, but different sort of managing of the sport in October, and that they're going to give guys less runway because then they may be more inclined to turn it over to the pen to and trust that they'll hold a lead or keep it within reason. I would say though, like the same level that I would be talking about with Ryan Weathers giving me a level of nervousness that his game can go sideways at any point. I would venture to say the same about Rodon. a little bit, not like the way that I feel about maybe Max Fried or Garrett Cole or Cam Schlittler holding down a game for, 7, 8 innings is a different level of feel than I would have for Carlos Rodon. So I feel like Carlos Rodon is a little bit closer to that Ryan Weathers conversation of saying which way will they go. So that is where there's a lot to be talked through, but I do agree if it comes down to it and they stay sort of where they are, they give more solid, consistent starts on both sides of the coin with Rodon and Weathers. It's probably going to go to Carlos Rodon because he's who's getting the money. He's who's pitched in Yankee Stadium in playoff games before. Uh, but it's something I wanted to bring up and wanted to talk about because like what Ryan Weathers has been doing is pretty is of note. It's definitely of note.
Yeah,
So,
it's definitely of note. I mean, I don't think the Yankees are in this position to be 4 games back with all the injuries they've had, and to be in the
without
top wild
Weathers,
card
yeah.
spot without Ryan Weathers. I mean, we all kind of were like, some people were. I remember when that trade was made, they were obviously hopeful for other moves to happen. So it was kind of looked over at the time, but everyone was like, yeah, this could be a good move. I mean, Weathers played a massive role for the Yankees this season. But I agree with you there too, Rob. Like, I think both pitchers have a similar risk to reward ratio,
Hmm.
where it's like maybe you go. I mean, I think honestly at this point, I think Weathers has a better chance of pitching deep into a game. It seems like. Um, I do feel like both pitchers can implode, and I also feel like both pitchers can pitch super well. Weathers has really like changed the type of pitcher he's been since he's been with the Yankees too.
Hmm.
He's like a crafty lefty. He's not just like throwing the fastball anymore.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know. I mean, selfishly, part of me almost wants one of these pitchers to just go on like a stupid hot streak and one of them to struggle a little bit. So it's just kind of
An
easy
easier
decision.
easier decision, yeah.
Yeah,
So
but I don't know what they'll do, Rob. I mean, you almost can't really not pitch Ryan Weathers if he does what he does for another 5 starts,
yeah,
to be
because then
honest.
that's a
So
guy that could have like a close to a, I mean, he could sniff like a sub 3 ERA or close to a very
I
low
think so,
low
right?
threes. I mean, right now he's at a 3.56, so he's been a stud. He's been a
Yeah.
real stud. All right, so the Yankees play this weekend versus the Toronto Blue Jays for a 3-game set. They're gonna, as I mentioned, they're gonna want a little bit of revenge following the disappointing series in Rogers Center that had us a little frustrated as well. And then so they play Houston, who is now competing for their playoff spot. They're first in the AL West, which is not a good division, and but they play in the American League, so it is what it is. And so they have a long homestand. They got 3 against Toronto,
Hmm.
3 against Houston, 4 against the Red Sox. Albeit one of the Red Sox games is a rain day
Gotta
makeup.
win 6 of those games.
Yeah, and especially for the Red Sox. So this, I just want to preface it with this, so that we want them to win all series, want them to win this series against a lesser Toronto team, want them to beat a top division team in Houston at the start of next week. But when it comes to Boston, man, we've talked about it a lot. Like if it stays where it is right now, the Yankees are 4 games ahead of Boston, but we know that the Yankees could, if
I
they're
want to
not
win the
careful, if they're
division.
not careful against the Boston team, and we know that Boston cooled off a little bit. Adley Rushman hasn't been very good for them so far. I think he like just hit his first home run not too long ago. I think he started like maybe 0 for 15 or something, not too good. But when it comes to trying to, they still want to win the division. They still want to gain ground on Tampa, but then also thinking about just, I don't want to say it because, oh, we're giving up on the division, but like if you then have to focus your eyes too on a wild card series, and if you do match up with Boston, you want that home field advantage because, and you can tell me if you disagree, I don't want to play a 3-game wild card series against the Red Sox in Fenway. I just don't. I
No.
really don't. Not with
Nope.
this,
I want to be at
not
the
with this
stadium
offense.
again.
Not with this offense. I want Cam Schlittler back on the mound in a wild card series if that's what they have to be in an opening series
Hmm.
for that. And actually, that's an interesting because I think maybe we talked about it to start the year where we were texting. Do you think like hypothetically if they play a opening wild card series and it's Yankees Red Sox repeat of last year at Yankee Stadium, do you think Schlittler starts game 1 or do you think they give it to Cole?
Nah, I think it's Schlittler.
Yeah. can't not have like your Cy Young winner on the mound in the
Yeah,
first game.
I think it's gonna be pretty tough for them to get off of Schlittler.
Yeah.
Um, but honestly, again, like they have three so very clearly almost bona fide aces. I almost don't even care.
That's fair.
I'm almost like whoever you think is gonna really like matches up well. Go ahead, pitch Fried there, pitch Garrett, pitch Schlittler. I mean, bro, it's crazy having those three pitchers in a short series. I
No,
mean,
it's crazy.
it makes me feel that's our like version of Scooble Yamamoto Otani.
It
Glass
is.
now Snell.
It is. I listen, if that was the matchup directly with the Dodgers, you feel good about the Yankees starting staff
Yeah, I
one
feel
on one.
good. Dude, you genuinely, I think that's why everyone has survived the Judge injury. One, because we have to, and two, because the pitching is so insanely good. It's like, wow, there is potentially a way.
There is. There is. All right. Well, we'll see how this Yankees team performs. Go in this weekend against the Blue Jays. Schlittler on the mound tonight. Weathers tomorrow. Rodon on Sunday. Let's see them win those series. That is it for episode 253. As always, make sure you subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Leave us a comment of what you think of the Yankees, what you think of the pod. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Follow us at Four Train Savages on Instagram, at Four Savages on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, all the different platforms. Appreciate everyone for listening. We will catch you at 254. Peace.